Hello guys, welcome back to Flashback Flicks. Get ready for a quick dive into today's movie recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Brace yourself for a wild ride in Ralph Breaks the Internet. Ralph and Vanellope dive into the vast, unpredictable world of the internet, facing viral trends, crazy challenges, and big surprises. Will their friendship survive the chaos? Stick around to find out. The story begins in the familiar setting of Litwick's arcade, 6 years after the events of the first film. Ralph and Vanellope have settled into a comfortable routine. They hang around the game station and bounce around from game to game as they hang out, even getting stuck in Tron when it glitches. However, this comfortable routine is suddenly disrupted when Mr. Litwick introduces a new element to the arcade, a Wi-Fi router. Serge, ever the cautious guardian, warns everyone that the internet is a dangerous place and is not to be trifled with. While Vanellope is feeling bored and craving something new, she confides in Ralph, telling him that life in Sugar Rush has become too predictable. Wanting to cheer her up, Ralph decides to surprise her by creating a brand new racetrack for her to enjoy. But his good intentions lead to disaster when Vanellope, excited by the new course, takes over during a player's game. The confused player, thrown off by the sudden changes, accidentally breaks the steering wheel off the console, causing chaos. Litwick, ever the problem solver, tries to fix the broken steering wheel but accidentally snaps it in half. The harsh reality hits when Litwick points out that the company behind Sugar Rush went out of business years ago, making replacement parts almost impossible to find. A glimmer of hope emerges when the tech-savvy kids locate a replacement wheel on eBay, but the $200 price tag is more than the game makes in an entire year. With the threat of the game being unplugged looming, Ralph, Vanellope, and all the Sugar Rush characters are forced to evacuate and take refuge in the crowded game station. While the Sugar Rush residents are now homeless, Felix and Calhoun, showcasing their nurturing sides, decide to temporarily shelter the 15 other racers. This noble gesture quickly proves challenging as the sugar-fueled racers wreak havoc in their new home. Meanwhile, a despondent Ralph drowns his sorrows at Tappers, lamenting Vanellope's growing restlessness. Felix joins Ralph in Tappers as Ralph bemoans Vanellope, saying that their friendship isn't enough for her to feel fulfilled. Ralph then gets the idea to head into the internet to find the wheel for Sugar Rush so Vanellope can go home. Ralph runs out and leaves Felix to pick up the tab. Determined to save Vanellope's home, Ralph hatches a plan to venture into the uncharted territory of the internet. Enjoying the recap? Hit like, subscribe to Flashback Flicks, and share your thoughts below. Now, back to the video. Filled with renewed purpose, Ralph convinces Vanellope to join him on this daring quest. They cleverly distract Serge and make their way into the internet. It doesn't initially work until Litwick sets up the router, and they follow an avatar of himself as he enters. Ralph and Vanellope enter the internet, which is presented like a never-ending city, with places for social media, shopping, and games. They go to Nosmore, a search engine that points them in the direction of eBay. Ralph and Vanellope find the wheel, only to discover that they have to buy it auction style from another person. They go up to a ridiculously high number, $27,001, to win it, but then find out that they don't actually have the money to buy the item. They are told that the item will be on hold for 24 hours, or they will have to forfeit the wheel. Desperate for a solution, Ralph remembers a pop-up he saw moments earlier, so he goes to find him. His name is JP Spamley, and he offers Ralph and Vanellope a chance to earn money by playing video games. After going through a bunch of duds, they stumble upon a promising but dangerous opportunity, stealing a car from Slaughter Race, an intense online racing game, for a whopping $40,000 reward. The two enter Slaughter Race, which is filled with hazards at every turn, like giant guard dogs and sharks that jump out of sewers to eat the dogs. Ralph and Vanellope come across a garage where a team of racers led by Shank are handling two other players who want to steal her car. Ralph distracts Shank and her crew while Vanellope enters and steals Shank's car. They race on out of there. What follows is an exhilarating chase through the perilous streets of Slaughter Race. Vanellope, fully in her element, skillfully navigates the dangerous terrain, savoring the adrenaline and excitement of the high-stakes race. However, the excitement doesn't last long as Shank and her crew, relentless and determined, eventually manage to corner them, cutting off their escape. In an unexpected turn, Shank, impressed by Vanellope's exceptional driving skills, but they can't have the car. She does offer an alternative solution to earning money, and that is by making viral videos. One of her crewmates uses a leaf blower on Ralph to make a funny video. Shank also sends Ralph and Vanellope to find her friend Yes in the site BuzzTube to help them earn money. Vanellope comments on how cool Shank is, which makes Ralph a little jealous. Ralph and Vanellope then head to the social media section of the internet, while being told by a messenger from eBay that they have 8 hours to come up with the money before the wheel gets forfeited. The two find Yes, who is an algorithm desperate to find a new hit for the site. Ralph and Vanellope introduce themselves, and Yes recognizes them because Ralph's video had a few good hits, but is now officially old news in the internet world. She does show them that the amount of hearts Ralph gets for his videos turns into currency that he can use later on. Ralph sets up an account and starts to make a bunch of silly videos based off of what's popular on the internet: pepper tasting tests, cooking fails, and Bob Ross, among other things, which all become rapidly viewed in the real world by people who recognize Ralph from his game. Yes sends her pop-ups to go out and get people to check out Ralph's videos. Vanellope volunteers to go out, but since Ralph worries she will go back to Slaughter Race, he has Yes redirect her route to the fan site, Oh My Disney. Vanellope finds herself among other Disney-owned properties, like Buzz Lightyear, Baymax, Eeyore, Iron Man, Nick Wilde, and Groot. She is spotted by stormtroopers and chased down a hall. Vanellope glitches and hides in the dressing room of the Disney princesses. Here, she has a hilarious and heartwarming encounter with the Disney princesses, leading to a slumber party where they encourage her to soul search and express her deepest desires through song. Back at BuzzTube, Ralph is told he only has 30 minutes left to pay for the wheel. He runs around trying to get people to give him more hearts until he reaches his goal. Ralph then makes the mistake on ending up in the comments section. He sees the rotten things that people say, and his feelings get hurt. Yes comes in and feels bad for not telling him about this, but she does let him know that he has officially reached past his goal, and so he makes the purchase official. He contacts Vanellope to tell her the good news. Vanellope herself is in Slaughter Race and finds herself singing her own song about wanting to stay there because she loves it. Ralph waits for Vanellope and tries contacting her again. She doesn't answer, but the call goes through, and Ralph is on mute but able to see and hear Vanellope and Shank talking. Vanellope expresses her desire to move on from Sugar Rush but is hesitant to tell Ralph. Shank assures her that she doesn't have to be conditioned to something just for the sake of a friend. Ralph is hurt over this. Ralph goes back to Spamly to see if there is a way to make Slaughter Race get boring so that Vanellope won't want to stay there. Spamly directs Ralph to the dark web where he meets Double Dan, a thuggish creature with a face in his neck that he refers to as his brother. Ralph makes his request to Double Dan, and he presents Ralph with Arthur, a virus that scans insecurities and spreads it throughout the thing that is to be infected. Ralph takes Arthur to Slaughter Race, and it scans Vanellope's glitching before spreading it to the rest of the game. It starts to reboot, forcing Ralph to head inside and save Vanellope before she gets deleted. After Vanellope regains consciousness, she blames herself for glitching and causing a problem. Ralph confesses that it's his fault that the virus spread because he didn't want Vanellope to leave. She angrily grabs the cookie badge she made him and throws it over a ledge. Vanellope leaves Ralph, and he starts expressing his apologies. Unfortunately, Arthur got out, and it scans Ralph's insecurities, spreading it all throughout the internet and creating a bunch of Ralph clones that keep moaning "friend" to Vanellope like a zombie. Vanellope hides out with no s'more until the real Ralph shows up. They decide to find Yes for help. The Ralph clones start attacking the web, which breaks off people's internet connections and is identified as a Wreck-It Ralph virus. Yes rides with Ralph and Vanellope as they try to lead the clones to an antivirus software. However, the clones then merge to form a giant Ralph monster that tries to get Vanellope. Ralph attempts to stop them himself, but they grab him and nearly squeeze him to death. Vanellope jumps in to save her friend, but Ralph stops them from making any more moves by calling them out and essentially himself for his clingy and possessive behavior toward Vanellope. He says that while it will hurt to let go, it doesn't mean that it will be the end of their friendship. Now at peace, the Ralph clones disappear, but this also causes Ralph to fall. Spamley tries to catch him, but Ralph goes through his cart. That's when Ralph is saved by none other than the Disney princesses. Ralph joins Vanellope outside of Slaughter Race as she prepares to join Shank and her crew. The two of them express their love for each other and say their goodbyes. In the epilogue, we witness how life has evolved for everyone. The Sugar Rush Racers find stability under Felix and Calhoun's surprising parenting skills. Ralph adapts to a new routine that includes regular virtual catch-ups with Vanellope, showing that their friendship remains strong despite the changes. As Ralph heads off to work alongside Felix, there's a palpable sense of growth and new beginnings. This journey has taught our heroes that true friendship can withstand distance and change, that letting go doesn't mean losing someone, and that personal growth and meaningful relationships can coexist, strengthening rather than diminishing each other. If you enjoyed this recap, be sure to like, subscribe to Flashback Flicks, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for joining us, and keep the adventure alive.